Yo, what's up? This is Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. For the next hour, my goal in life is to change the way you think about things. For the next hour, I want my rants and my opinions to broaden your horizon, but it's not hard to get into contact with me. I promise, it's not rocket science. All you gotta do is give me a call at 856-49-HOPPY. That's 856-49-HOPPY, and I will be sure to take your calls in real time. But here's the deal. I'm not on the radio yet. I'm not on satellite radio yet. Obviously, that's the goal, is to get on the radio. So this is a one-man show. I don't have a phone screener. So when I say all phone lines are open, call me at 856-49-HOPPY. It's 856-49-HOPPY. But maybe you're a little bit shy, but you want to get into contact with me. It's not hard. All you got to do is get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play or iPhone shop. Search up Hoppe Radio, Hoppe Radio. There you can chat me live. Or you can tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio. And my email is ryanhopperadio@gmail.com if you're listening on demand and you want to send a lengthy email. Ah, man, I got the goosebumps. 6 days until the Mike Calta Punch-Out at LBC, local brewing company in Palm Harbor. Oh, man. It's just getting closer and closer because you had the whole beef with me and John Senning on air. And then you were doing the whole thing where we weren't sure when the day was going to be. So then I began getting my boxing training with Thomas Gerganis of Burn Fitness in Largo. And then main event boxing in St. Pete with James and Joshua. And now that the day is less than a week coming now, it's like, oh, man, am I getting goosebumps down my spine. And I'm not a guy that likes to smack talk, which is why I've backed off from having beef with John after we had our beef on air. And I haven't really had any beef with Jake because I consider Jake and John work friends, and I would hope that we both agree that we're friends off air. But I will say this. I promise to any 1025 The Bone listener that goes to the local brewing company next week, November 12th, in Palm Harbor for the Mike Calta Punch-Out number 2, or anybody that watches it live on Bone TV, or listens to the Johnny B Show as they're live, or anybody that watches it on demand, you are going to be in for some of the best entertainment you've ever seen. I'm not going to guarantee anything. I'm not going to jinx anything. Jake and I are going to go in there, and we're going to give it our all. But I will promise you, you will be entertained every single second. Same with Anna and Carmen and Balls and Balls. Trust me, the Mike Calta Punch-Out number 2 is going to be a hell of a time. So come on out to the local brewing company in Palm Harbor. Also, shout out to the Crowded Table, as they will be premiering on November 19th on 1025 The Bone from 6 to 8 p.m. John Senning. A lot of people think about me as like the radio geek, the person that knows a lot about radio shows. Could not be happier for John Senning, Dennis, and Jake, but especially John. That dude and I have had some of the most real talks, and we've also just had these geeky talks where we talk about radio shows that I know about in Detroit, even though I grew up in Chicago because John's from Detroit. And we'll talk about radio and life in general. Trust me when I say John Senning, Jake Heron, and Dennis are the up-and-comers in this business. John said it best on the Academy of Mo show on Saturday when he was sitting in with Jerica and SBK at the end of the show, that the show is going to be different because they're younger. They're quote-unquote millennials. And they're quote-unquote going to add a different perspective to talk radio, which is what they're going to do, and they're going to excel at it. This is a new era in talk radio. I'm doing the same thing here with the podcast. Anna Hummel is doing the same thing with the Sex I'm Not Having. The Scrum Sports with Ryan Adams and Trevor Grout, they're doing the same thing with their show. Anybody's doing it with any of their shows. You're going to see a new era in talk radio within the next 5 years, and especially the next 10 years. All the guys that are in their 40s and 50s and plus, all the guys that have made a name for themselves in radio, all the guys that are making great money in radio, all the guys that have made a name for themselves in their markets that they're in, if they're a one-man show in a market or if they're syndicated. Trust me when I say the millennials are hungry, because I know you guys like to use that word, And the millennials are going to impress everybody when it comes to what we bring to radio and what we bring to TV. The era has begun. All right, I just wanted to get that out there. So it's kind of weird because I'm like the one true Cubs fan in Tampa when it comes to here at Cox Media Group. John Larson, who is the program director for the Dove and the Eagle and Magic 94.9. He has a lot of passion for the Cubs, and I always enjoy talking to the man in the hallway about the Bears and us going back and forth about how we're sick of Jake Cutler. So he's like the one other person I know here in town that's a good Cubs fan. It's like diehard. But I feel like if you're not in Chicago, you're not going to completely get what that means to the city and what it means to sports that they won. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Oh, yeah! What do you say? The Cubs are gonna win today. All right. Here's the thing. I've heard a lot of comments recently. A lot of comments of people saying, oh, the Cubs fan base, bunch of bandwagoners. Oh, the Cubs fan base just jumped on the bandwagon. Here's why it seems like the Cubs fans came out of nowhere. You play 162 games a year. Sorry if you're not going to see excitement in June over a game versus the Baltimore Orioles. Or you're not going to see complete excitement come August. The baseball season is a long one. And Chicago's the third biggest market in this country and the fourth biggest city in this whole continent. Toronto's bigger. Cub fans travel well. So, of course, you're going to see Cub fans go crazy when the playoffs begin and they're in the World Series. That city has a population of 2 million, and the surrounding suburbs has a complete population of 10 million. And I just don't think people know how tight-knit the Chicago Cubs fan base is and how tight-knit Chicago is. Because if you're in a transplant area, you're not going to get the idea that Chicago has its culture. It has its food. It has its skyline, the parades, the improv comedy, and the jazz music. There's a ton of things that go on in Chicago. And one of the main reasons why the Cubs winning compared to the Blackhawks winning or Michael Jordan winning in the 90s or the White Sox in 05 is there wasn't all this disappointment over and over and over again over the Bulls. What, we had Bob Love in the 70s? Woo. Jerry Sloan? Wow. You had the 85 Bears, but everyone's used to mediocrity. They made the playoffs a little bit in the 90s, a little bit 10 years ago with Lovie Smith, but they're just a mediocre team. The Blackhawks, until their owner died 12 years ago, nobody cared about the Blackhawks in Chicago unless you were a true fan. And the White Sox, let's be honest here, nobody has any memory of the White Sox winning in 05, unless you're a diehard White Sox fan. I always say the White Sox fan base is like a diehard cult fan base of a short-lived TV show. It's there. They have the fans, but it's a Cubs mania town. You have the GOAT in the 40s. You have the idea that we haven't won since before the Titanic sank. You have the 60s, when we couldn't win against the Mets. You have the 70s. You have the 80s. You have Ron Santo losing his mind at every WGN radio broadcast when they lost. You had Harry Carey losing his mind every time they lost on TV. We almost beat the Mets. Then the 90s come, and we get Sammy Sosa. And in 1998, we're the wild card team, and we couldn't get it done. So then we make the playoffs in 03, and the whole thing happened with Barkman. And then we get Lou Piniella in 06, and we're like, oh my God, this is it. And we do well, and we make it to the playoffs. And then we get swept by the Rockies. And everybody goes, okay, you know, the Cubs are growing, you know. And then you get swept by the Dodgers. And then all of a sudden you're like, crap, what are the Cubs going to do now? So then the Cubs in 09 had a chance to make the playoffs, but they missed it by the wild card. My point is this. You're not going to completely get how awesome it feels that the Cubs won if you're not from there because you're not used to the same disappointment. In 08, When the Cubs lost, I swear to God, my priest at church, no, he didn't touch me, but my priest at church literally gave the most depressing sermon because they lost. The whole idea of Chicago sports, it gets passed down and passed down. You watch it at, let's say, birthday parties on Sundays. You watch the Bulls during the week. You watch it with your friends. It's kind of like this brotherhood. It's like this family thing where everybody at the bar is watching the same screen, rooting for Jay Cutler, rooting for the Cubs, rooting for the potential rapist known as Derrick Rose. You're rooting for something. And I just don't know if Tampa Bay quite gets it. They are diehard for the Lightning. They are very passionate about the Buccaneers. But right now, the Buccaneers are kind of in a turmoil because they're not sure what they're doing. And the Rays are just a mess. But trust me when I say the whole idea of bandwagon Cub fans, that is the most moronic thing I've ever heard. Especially when the last 5 years they've ranked in the top 10. And this last 2 years, they've ranked in the top 3 in attendance. Even when the Cubs were horrendous, they would sell out. And I'm not going to take the time, to rip into the Cleveland fan base. I took a few shots because I was annoyed. I wasn't drunk when I sent out the tweets, but I was like sports mania drunk, where you're angry that your team's down 3-1. But I will say this, and I got to say this easily, and if you want to call me and say I'm an idiot, go ahead. 856-49-HOPPY. It's 856-49-HOPPY. Speaking of giving me a call, since I'm an idiot, we have a call on Happy Hour. Happy Hour, who's this?
Ryan, Jeff Ryan, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. What's up? I'm doing good, man. What's up, Jeff?
Not much, man. Here, how about them Cubbies here in Chicago, man?
How are you feeling about it? Explain to the audience why it's a big deal, because here in Tampa, some people think that we're just bandwagoners and we jumped on the bandwagon. Give your passionate take about why the Cubs winning is a big deal, Jeff Wright.
It's a big deal mainly for so many reasons. Number one, obviously the whole 106-year drought since 1908. That's been the biggest thing. How so close how we came, over the years. I was around in '84 when they blew a 2-0 lead to the San Diego Padres when it used to be a best-of-5 championship series. No wild card, nothing of that. I was around in '89 when they lost 4-1 to the Giants. I was around, obviously, in '03. And the whole Bartman thing, wrong place, wrong time, just happened to be the guy that got crucified for it. There were other people reaching for it, too. Let the guy be. 07, 08, decent teams, but not the talent to get them over the hump. Last year they came in, no one expected them to do what they did. They lost to the Mets. This year, overcoming the odds, it was classic. It's the whole underdog thing. That's what it is, because they've been that way. Even this year when they were so-called built to win it all, they were still the underdogs and still had to overcome a lot of different things, injuries and a little bit of team strife, but they did it. And another cool thing about it is the fact that it's been fun to watch not only this team this year, last year, but to see how this team has grown through the draft, through free agency. The fact that, Theo and Jed, in the beginning, it was the former GM, Jim Hendry, who drafted Javier Baez, was one of his last drafts. In the first draft 4 years ago, the first guy they took, Theo and Jed, was Albert Almora Jr. What's he doing this year, his true rookie season? He's up there winning a world championship and scoring the go-ahead run in Game 7. And it started there. And you started making your trades, getting your acquisitions, drafting Chris Bryant, one of the best drafts you ever had. And then, of course, you rectify yourself from the infamous trade the Cubs made to the Cardinals, giving up Lou Brock, who became one of the greatest ever in '64 when the Cardinals won it all. And you get Addison Russell, a great shortstop, a guy who you got him basically for peanuts. You gave up Samardzija, who was being a jerk anyway. And Jason Hamlin, you got him back, and he wasn't that good. In fact, the Cubs cut ties with him today. So to see this team grow and mature over the last 4 years, there have been some growing pains, and everybody knew it. But everyone said, "Have faith, have faith." Like he did in Boston, he is the first GM that I have ever seen, at least in my 33 years of watching baseball religiously. I'm 41 now. Is the first GM in Cub history I ever saw who said, "We have a 5-year plan. We're going to do this." And he had the guts to back it up. He had the money to back it up. He had the scouts to back it up. Jason McLeod, the best in the business, and they did it in 4. That, my friend, is awesome.
Now, what I want to ask you, Jeff, is it seems like there's this whole reputation where Cub fans are bandwagoners and we just check out the hot girls at the games and we drink beer. But having people like you that call in show that there are diehard Cub fans that know their facts and that have been watching since day one. If I had more time, I would watch it, but I'm here in Tampa. They don't show the games. But I'm just as passionate. I just don't know as much as you. But what I want to have you preach to the Happy Hour audience is this. Why do you think we get such a reputation that we're bandwagoners, even though the last 10 years we've ranked as one of the best attendants in all of the MLB?
I think the problem is with bandwagoners, and this could be with any team, any sport, is the fact that all of a sudden you start liking this team, and when they don't do good, you don't, and everything. Well, that's the thing, though. If you like a team, you like a team. Doesn't matter, when you jumped on. It doesn't matter if you just kind of recently discovered this talent. I mean, if you want to jump on the so-called bandwagon, that's fine. But the biggest question to ask for the so-called bandwagoners, are you going to stay on if times get tough? And I'm sure that about 70% are going to say, "Oh, I don't know." And, 10% are going to say, "Of course." And 20% are going to say, "Stop the world, I want to get off." So, when it comes to some things like, when you have a bandwagoners that have the whole one and done thing, and they jump off quick, that I can't stand. But when you have a team like the Cubs that are built for a dynasty, or when you have like football teams like, say that the San Francisco 49ers of the 80s and 90s, when you had Joe Montana, Steve Young, Coach Bill Walsh, and you had people enjoying that team for years, and, consistently being there, the ones that still show up, despite the controversy of what's going on, and the wishy-washiness that team has with their quarterbacks and whatnot. You praise the fans that stick with you. The Bear fans, I'm still there. I'm still a Bears fan, no matter how bad they are. I was happy to see Cutler do well. I may be one of the very few that has always liked him. I mean, are they going to move on from him this year? Probably so. They're going to have to draft somebody in that first round with him. At least have him stick around one more year, maybe mentor the kid. Who knows? But the bottom line is, bandwagoning after like a 1 year, 2 year thing, I can't stand that. Support your team, stick with them through thick and thin. It's like down there, the Florida Panthers, a couple of years ago, they couldn't buy a crowd.
Yeah.
From what I remember. And they were giving discount tickets to the game. Some of them were free tickets. It's like, they may be the worst team in hockey, and they were. Go support them. Maybe they're going to surprise you in the years to come, just the way the Cubs did. And what did Florida do last year? If I'm not mistaken, they played some really good hockey.
Well, Jeff,
the people who jumped off, they didn't know what they were doing. But the loyalists who stayed, I hope they did, God bless them, they were rewarded for their effort.
Well, Jeff, where can people find your work? Because you basically just helped prove my point. So where can they find your work online?
You can find me. You can find some. I do. I'm at sportstownchicago.com. I have a baseball and sports radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central Time. It's called The Cheap Seats. We've been on for quite a while. You can find our show podcast underneath podcasts on the website, which is sportstownchicago.com. And You can also find my work on SoundCloud. I have a few of some interviews I've done with some baseball players and whatnot. You can find me on SoundCloud, and it's Jeff Sounds 38, GEOSS, by the way. But Jeff Sounds 38 is the name.
Well, dude, I'll be sure to link it on the podcast, and when I upload this podcast to Facebook, I will tag you in it. Thank you for the info. You actually helped prove my point, and I have a few more points I'm going to bring up after I'm done with you, including the fact that I think Bill Murray is very annoying.
Well, I kind of thought he was kind of one of the great defenders that kept the GOAT away, but all right, I'll go with you on that. I'm looking forward to hearing that, man.
All right, be sure to comment when I talk about Bill Murray, and I'll see what you think about it, but I got a lot on my mind about it. It's just a very different take. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, you bet, pal. You bet. Take care, buddy.
Bye. All right, speaking of Bill Murray, here's my thing. I get that the guy's always been a Cubs fan, it seems like. And I get the fact that he was there in the 80s. And I get that Bill Murray's lovable. And I get that we could have worse fans when it comes to being rich, famous celebrities. Like, I get we could have Spike Lee on the sideline, like they do at the Knicks games, just being a tool. I get we could have Bieber, you know, caring about the Cavs for once. Like, I get you could have real, legit bandwagon fans. But here's my thing with Bill Murray that just really annoys me. He needs to be front and center when it comes to anything that goes on with the Cubs. And it works because people that were Generation X or baby boomers love him. They think it's so funny. He's been around so long that he can do what he wants. But I actually like Bonnie Hunt or John Cusack or Eddie Vedder because they're there. They'll be in the locker room. They'll take selfies with the Cub players after they win. But they don't need to make it about them. I mean, Bill Murray's cool. Out of all these celebrities that are out there in the world, I'll say this, and I'll say this with confidence. Bill Murray is one of the good guys. Bill Murray's not a bad guy. But I think there's this cult when it comes to Bill Murray where he can do whatever he wants and his crap doesn't smell. And I know this is a very negative take on it, but it's like, great, Bill Murray gave a Cub fan tickets. Bill Murray, you know, helped out a Cub fan and got her tickets. Great. Do we need to hear about it? It seems like whenever Bill Murray does something, it needs to be out there that he did it. He can't just do it low-key. It's always got to be, Bill Murray's here. Yeah! The party can begin. Bill's here. Like when he crashed that wedding a year ago or 2 years ago and he was the wedding crasher. You know Bill Murray made a big deal about it. And I'm sure he's a nice guy. If I could have him on Happy Hour, I would. But I would say this to him. He just seems like he's always seeking attention because he's in his later part of his life. And I feel like he enjoys being Bill Murray. And however he can squish his way into the spotlight of anything, it happens. Like him on SNL. And I get that the guy's funny. I get it. I truly get it. It's just at times I feel like he makes it about him. It's like Bill Murray gave a fan tickets. Bill Murray crashed the wedding. We got to report it, because if we don't report it, it didn't happen. Great. You know what? Akon helped out millions of people in Africa, and he didn't brag about it. The media talked about it. I just wish Bill Murray didn't always have to make it about him. But there you go. And I know I'm the one person that has that take. Everybody's like, oh my God, Bill Murray's great. God, I love him. He's so adorable. He's so funny. Okay, great. Call the show. 856-49-HOPPY. 856-49-HOPPY. Up next on Happy Hour, there's this Playboy model that I talked about. Dani Mathers. And she is being charged. And you will find out why after this. But call the show. 856-49-HOPPY. That's 856-49-HOPPY. Tweet at me at Ryan Hoppe Radio.
Happy hour is about to end, but first...
And, of course, you can always get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iPhone shop.
Happy hour. Happy hour.
What's up? This is Ryan Hoppe from Happy Hour, and I have a very special shout-out to one of the sponsors of this award-winning podcast.
Nicholas Seymour from Duluth, Minnesota, is the owner of Solis Graphics, which is a badass company that will make you decals. You can buy Happy Hour decals. It's not too hard. For just $4, you can support this award-winning podcast while supporting small business here in America. Or maybe you have a band, a company, a freelancing project, and you want to have your logo made into a nice, badass decal. Nick is down for making deals, and he is very good at negotiating. If you want to get into contact with Nick, it's not hard. Trust me. He will answer your call real quick, and he is one of the nicest guys I know. His number is 330-419-0691. That is 330-419-0691. Or you can send him an email, solisdesign@gmail.com. That is solisdesign@gmail.com. And to check out Happy Hour decals for just $4, go to tinyurl.com/happy hour decal. That is tinyurl.com/happy hour decal. And when you talk to my guy Nick, just say that Ryan Hoppe sent you, and he will give you a badass deal. Trust my word, pimps. Nick Seymour of Solis Graphics is the best around.
From Chicago to Cleveland to Tampa Bay, you are plugged into Happy Hour.
All right, welcome back to Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe. Call the show, 856-49-HOPPE. That's 856-49-HOPPE. And I don't want to dwell on this too long because I don't want to give the whole idea of fake outrage the time of day. But listen to me. If you are truly offended by a Starbucks coffee cup, then you're a bland person. If you are truly offended by a coffee cup and that ruined your day and you had to tweet at Starbucks that you were so upset over their coffee cup, and I'm not going to even read the article, I don't want to give it the time of day. But if that made you so mad that you had to spend the time of day you're given to send 140 characters or less to Starbucks, or bitch about it on a video blog, or write a blog in general about it, then you need to get a life. You're not impressing anybody with your fake outrage. Nobody is going, oh my God, Jenny, who writes this mommy blog, was upset over coffee. Oh my God. Because of her opinion, I look at things differently. We have so many issues in this country. We have two buffoons, two cretins, two dirtbags running for president. We have record high crime in Chicago, Baltimore, St. Louis. The economy's bad. You have so many issues. But no, let's have people get upset over an effing Starbucks coffee cup. Kiss my ass. And I'm so glad the media didn't dwell on it that long. But the fact that CNN even gave it an article, even gave it the time of day, you're letting those scumbag bloggers that are upset over everything win. And I'm so sick and tired of this. God damn it. How offended were you over the coffee cup? Were you not able to put the key in your car and drive to work? Did it make you so offended that your body turned numb and you couldn't pick up the fork at dinner and eat? Were you not able to tuck your kids in at night? Were you not able to grab the TV remote and turn on TV? Were there tasks that you do every day that you were unable to do because you were in such shock over an effing Starbucks coffee cup, you morons? And the same thing goes for my generation. And I think I'm officially off the bandwagon of trying to defend millennials. You know what? Use that word all you want. Call us millennials. We are losers. We are imbeciles. We are babies. We cry about everything. The fact that Hillary Duff's pilgrim and Indian costume had to be apologized for is ridiculous. The fact that she actually had to say she was sorry about it is ridiculous. The fact that millennials were so upset about it. This is from Fox News. Hillary Duff apologizes for controversial outfit as she dressed up as a pilgrim and her husband dressed up as a Native American. Are we not supposed to have any fun in life? You know, we can't have decorated coffee cups at an overpriced coffee shop known as Starbucks, even though I like Starbucks. Are we not supposed to have fun dressing up in Halloween costumes? Should we just be robots and just be bland human beings? Because that is the path we are going down when we have these pussy millennials bitching and moaning. Oh, I gotta go in my safe spot because I'm offended by a costume and a coffee cup. Good. Don't go out and have fun on Halloween. Sit home and drink water and never get Starbucks again and never hang out with anybody ever again because everybody dresses up in a Halloween costume. You imbeciles. No wonder we get so much hate. Oh, we're offended. Shut up. Sick of this. And a part of me has this opinion that our parents are to be blamed because they made us into this. But it's just this entitlement that us millennials have. It's just enough. Oh, I'm so offended. F you. Call the show. 856-49-HOPPY. It's 856-49-HOPPY. Yeah, I'm officially off the bandwagon. Like everybody said, I was on the Cubs bandwagon, even though I've been watching them since I was 4 years old. But I'm off the official bandwagon of defending millennials because they are pussies. A coffee cup. I don't like that it's green and it might have political tones on it. Or that it's a holiday cup. I'm offended by Christmas. It needs to be a holiday tree. Nobody can have fun in life. Shut up. Sick of this. But here is some outrage that I do believe is actually worthwhile. Here's some outrage that I actually go, I can see it. And this is from Bro Bible, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite news sites. You know, they actually report unbiased news, and they give me great headlines. BroBible.com. Playboy model Dani Mathers charged for body shaming Snapchat pic of naked woman in locker room. Thank you. I'm glad finally the judges did something right. I have been so sick and tired of celebrities getting away with whatever they want. Thank you, Los Angeles, for charging this dirty, rotten moron. The entitlement. Back in July, Playboy model Dani Mathers shared a photo of a naked woman in a locker room, and she then insulted the woman's body in comments. And it's a Snapchat, and it's her covering her mouth, and she's like, and then the thing says, I can't unsee this, and you can't either. And it's a poor woman drying herself out while she's in a sauna. And the first thing I don't like about the pic, even the fact that she tweeted out and put it on Snapchat without the woman knowing, or it was just Snapchat rather. But what I don't like about it is Dani Mathers is wearing makeup to the gym. No girl ever needs to wear that much makeup to the gym. We got it. You're hot. We got it. You're trying to brag that you're working on your squats and you're going to have a nice behind and your body's going to look great. But I actually like when a girl looks really, really average at the gym, because that's the girl that's actually doing it for herself and she wants to look good. But if you're like this dirty, rotten bitch, Dani Mathers, this former Playboy model, and you have to wear makeup to the gym, then you're doing it for attention and because you're as shallow as a kid's pool and nobody likes you. Here's what it says here. All right, this is from BroBible.com. Call the show, 856-49-HOPPY. The phone lines are open. After facing widespread backlash over the insensitive picture, and for once, I actually find this insensitive. The 2015 Playboy Playmate of the Year said she was sorry and then deleted her social media accounts. Oh, wow. That's a way to say sorry. Wasn't like she donated money to a group that helps out weight loss. She just deleted her social media accounts. How are we going to survive without seeing Dani Mathers on Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and Instagram? Oh, no. How are we going to survive? What I love, too, is I bet she's in complete withdrawal. I bet she's literally losing her mind. She's like, I don't have any talent. I have my looks. But now that I can't brag about it on social media and use a filter, I'm just like every gorgeous girl in Los Angeles ever. I have no identity. And she was on a radio show in Los Angeles. She had everything going for her. God, I love this. This is great. She is now being criminally charged for her distasteful photo. The Los Angeles prosecutors, my new heroes, have charged her with invasion of privacy for taking a photo of a naked woman in a Los Angeles gym locker room without the consent or knowledge. And do you have the IQ of the grape that you ate that morning because you don't eat a lot because you're skinny? I mean, are you just not a smart person? In what world is that a good idea? To take a picture of a woman without her knowing, and the fact being that the woman, is not as good looking as you and she's out of shape and you're a public figure and people are going to be outraged by it. Was this entitlement by her that she thought she was going to get away with it because she's a Playboy model and she's got good looks? I'm not sure. But there's times I want to Snapchat something. Like there was a kid who was really dorky. He was like 12 years old and I saw him out in public and he was dancing to Panda. I was at this like downtown area in St. Pete during the day and they were playing Panda, 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 that moronic song. It's horrible. And there's this 12-year-old kid that reminded me of myself 10 years ago dancing to it, and it was awkward and dorky. And I thought about filming it, but then I go, there's got to be a thing with that that's not legal. And number two, I'd be a hypocrite because I ripped on Dani Mathers for filming somebody without her knowing. So that'd be weird for me to do it. You got to be careful when you're a public figure in social media. I'm a nobody. I'm just a podcast in Tampa Bay trying to make a name for myself in this business. But man, I am so careful whenever I post anything on Snapchat, at Hoppe Radio, Ryan Hoppe Radio, on good old Instagram or Twitter, got to get the plug in there, or Facebook. Whenever ever, that was like a broken record. Whenever I post anything on social media, ever, I go, can I defend this? One of my friends, Paul Varga, who I met at the Morning Show Boot Camp, told me, if you're in the media business, if you're in radio, and you have a program director, or you're in TV and you have a boss, or you work at Target and you have a supervisor, whatever you post on social media, you need to have the power to defend. If you have so much confidence putting it up on social media, you should be ready for the backlash. Even if the comment is, I hate the Chicago Cubs, you always need to be prepared to explain why you put that up. So today, when I tweeted out that the audience at a Trump rally is like watching Married with Children whenever Al Bundy would say something to Peg, and the crowd would go, woo! And I said that the crowd at Trump rallies are just like the crowd during a Married with Children filming. I have utter confidence in that, because it's true. Because the people are rude, and they scream random things like, yeah, Trump! And in the show, they would go, yeah, Al. But I know nothing about the Clinton emails, and I don't know anything about these allegations that are going against Trump for sexual assault. So those are the topics I never ever touch, because I don't know how I would defend myself. But when I am so certain that something is annoying, I tweet it out. Here's what the city attorney Matt Fewer said. Body shaming is humiliating with often painful long-term consequences. It mocks its victims, tears down self-respect, and it hurts their unique physical appearances that are often compared to the pressure of being perfect. Yeah, so this Dani Mathers, this dirty, rotten bitch, this lame model that's just as boring as any other model, she was born to perfect sperm. I bet her dad's got muscles. I bet her mom's good looking. I bet everybody in her family is good looking and they've never taken a crap. I bet they're just amazing. I bet they're awesome. She never gets the idea of being overweight and maybe not as good looking and maybe homely looking, and the whole idea that you got to lose weight and you have to get confidence. I used to be 295. I was ginormous, and the pain of looking at everybody in the gym and going, I want to be them. I want to be them badly. Dani Mathers has never known that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she was 295 10 years ago and now she's just a hot blonde. But I kind of get the feeling that she can't relate to people. If she's putting on Snapchat, a picture of a woman weighing herself and saying, "You can't unsee this." Her attorney said this. Oh man, I can't wait. I love when attorneys talk and their people that they're defending are so guilty. It's not ridiculous. It's not even funny, but they try to find a way to word it that they're not guilty. Here's what her attorney said. Can't wait. "I am very disappointed that she was charged with any violation. She never tried to invade anyone's privacy and never tried to break any law." Huh? Let me reread that. Maybe I'm in a different universe where I just read the complete wrong quote about a dirty, rotten bitch of a model who took a picture of a woman trying to lose weight in the locker room, and she has the quote, "You can't unsee it." Let me reread this. "She never tried to invade anyone's privacy." Oh, there was complete privacy when the woman never thought that a moronic model would tweet out a Snapchat of her looking ugly. Now, I get that the woman's in a public place, but you wouldn't think that this dumb model would take a Snapchat and then post it and make fun of her. And that is a criminal charge. Because if it wasn't a criminal charge, she wouldn't be charged right now with invasion of privacy. You moronic lawyer without any consent. Man, she might as well just defend herself in court because there is no case she has for this lawyer and she's just wasting money trying to get out of this. And I hope they don't give her a plea deal at all. I don't want her to get jail time because it'd be a waste of air in jail for this dirty, rotten bitch to be in there. You got to give her something. Probation, no driving, anything. She faces up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. I don't get females at times. I don't think men can get females at all because females are weird. But I'm just saying, it's like, in what world is that a good idea to body shame somebody, especially when you're a public figure and you were on one of the biggest shows in Los Angeles and you're a Playboy model, Playmate of the Year. It's not like you're some wannabe webcam girl from Craigslist that nobody knows who you are. You were a well-known Playmate model for a well-known brand known as Playboy. People were going to see it, you dummy. Tweet at me, at Ryan Hoppe Radio. And you, of course, can get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iPhone shop by searching up Hoppe Radio. Hoppe Radio. All right, here's the deal. We're going to come back and wrap everything up. But first, we're going to play my guy, DJ Speed. Or no, that's not his name. His name is DJ Shady Bones, rather. I'm not sure why I said DJ Speed. He is my cousin, and he is one of the up-and-coming EDM artists in this business. And he sent me a track, because I'm looking for unsigned music. And he sent me a track that is called 8-Bit, and it is addicting. It is legit, and I will play that going to break. But first, before I play 8-Bit Ruined, all you got to do is email me, ryanhopperadio@gmail.com, and I will be sure to try and play your unsigned music on the show, because Facebook has a fit, and they don't let me play licensed music because they're lame. So it's ryanhopperadio@gmail.com. If you're country music, EDM, rock and roll, hip hop, I will be sure to play your work. Only on
Happy Hour. Happy Hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
From Chicago to Cleveland to Tampa Bay, you are plugged into Happy Hour.
Yep. All right, we're about to wrap everything up. But my guy, one of the up-and-comers in this business, and by me saying that, I'm implying that he has to come up somewhere. This dude's growing by the minute. My guy, Johnny B, of the Johnny B Show, which in 2 weeks will be beginning from 3 to 6 p.m. on 102.5 The Bone. And he has the host of the BDRS on The Bone. He is watching while taking a poop. Love you, Johnny. Add him on Twitter, at Johnny B Comedy. One of the most humble dudes I know. Yep, it's awesome to see that I'm working in the promotions department at the best talk radio station in this whole country and quite possibly this whole globe. I mean, I haven't heard the radio yet in New Zealand, but I would assume The Bone's the best. I'm very happy for everything going on here. I'm very honored. I know I use that word a lot. It's cliche, but it's how I feel. I can promise you this, and I said this before, and I said this now as well. Next week, the Mike Calta Punch-Out, number 2. Me versus Jake Heron of the Crowded Table. Anna Hummel from The Sex I'm Not Having, and the BDRS and the Johnny B Show versus Carmen, the lovely Carmen. And I'm not saying Anna's not lovely, but the lovely Carmen of the Mike Calta Show. And then Balls versus Balls, which is just two people on Twitter getting mad at each other. That will be the fight of the century. Forget about Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao, or Pacquiao winning last night. These 3 fights will draw you in. These 3 fights will make you want to listen to The Bone every single day, 24/7, which you should be doing at theboneonline.com. Of course, Happy Hour is recorded at the Cox Media Building and has no affiliation with The Bone. But I work in promotions and I'm honored. So Mike Calta's Punch-Out number 2 will be at the local brewing company in Palm Harbor next Saturday. For info, go to theboneonline.com. And there's a voting section where you can click on my picture or Jake's picture, Anna's picture, or Carmen's picture, and you vote who's going to win. And I love the fact that there's a 25% chance of me winning and a 75% chance of Jake winning. Going in as the underdog is what thrives me. Going in as the underdog is intriguing. And Kevin Wallace says hi, according to his friend Chris. So, there you go. I appreciate it, Kevin. All right. We're about to wrap this up. I have a migraine. I got really mad today. Mad over coffee cups and the fake outrage and defending the Cubs, you know, and that dirty rotten bitch known as the former Playboy model Dani Mathers. Yeah, it's been quite the show, but it's not over with. The phone lines are open. 856-49-HOPPY. It's 856-49-HOPPY. You have your last second chance to get your take in.
Happy hour is about to end. First, it's time for last call.
Ow! Ow! I just hurt myself. Get it? All right, tweet at the show at Ryan Hoppe Radio. Go to RyanHoppeRadio.com. Email me RyanHoppeRadio@gmail.com. And get the Hoppe Radio app in the Google Play and iPhone shop by searching up Hoppe Radio, HOPPE Radio. You can get it in the Google Play and iPhone shop. Check out Main Event Boxing in St. Pete. They are helping me get as ready as possible for this fight next Saturday at Palm Harbor Local Brewing Company. Main Event Boxing with Joshua and James. 727-564-3948. That's 727-564-3948. And if you go there and talk to Joshua and James and everybody at Main Event Boxing, they will hook you up with a great deal. Also, my guy Thomas Gerganis of Burn Fitness in Largo. He is at 301 West Bay Drive in Largo. That is 301 West Bay Drive in Largo. Call him at 727-385-1108. That's 727-385-1108. If you go there and tell him that I sent you this little minuscule podcast happy hour, he will hook you up with a great deal. Even if you're not in a boxing fight, trust me when I say it's very addicting to get into shape. This show has been brought to you by Soli's Graphics out of Duluth, Minnesota. My guy Nicholas Seymour will hook you up with decals for just $2. Go to tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. That's tinyurl.com/happyhourdecal. And if you go there as well and click on the main logo, you can also get into contact with him if you want some decals made. Check out Simply Prepaid at T-Mobile. 727-331-1934. That's 727-331-1934. And they're at 5014 Gulfport Boulevard South. And they will be relocating to a new shop too. But if you go there and talk to Tony Spinney, Patrick McVicker, Ryan in the tech department, they will hook you up with a great deal on pay-per-month phone service with great smartphones. And check out Joe Sale Photography, Tampa Bay Image Factory. If you go there and you need press shots taken for your wedding, your company, whatever, he will hook you up with a great deal. Call him at 813-417-2626. That's 813-417-2626. And his website is tampaimagefactory.com. All right. I am so sick and tired of whoring myself out and plugging myself that I'm going to end the show. This week, we have some very special guests that I am proud to announce. Tomorrow, we have 2 guests that will be on Happy Hour. So go to my Twitter at Ryan Hoppe Radio and you will see who's on. And Tuesday, we have a TV star calling in. So there you go. There's your tease, as they say in radio. This has been Happy Hour. I am your host, Ryan Hoppe, saying peace out.
Happy Hour. Happy Hour is now over, but you can always listen 24/7 by getting the